Well, here we are at the AI Summit in New York, and I'm very happy to say from Omdia, I've got Cassandra with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me, Chuck.
So you've got some new research. Tell us what's up.
Yeah, so we just published our Omdia Universe on the RPA and intelligent automation space.
What is Omdia Universe?
So it's this big report and really just sets the stage for, where's the market at, and then really analyzes the key vendors in the space and provides enterprises with kind of a short list to consider.
Is this an annual thing?
Yeah, every year around this time of year, November-ish. And it's really fascinating, and the market's just changing so fast.
So what did you find?
It's good. There's been new entrants into the space between last year's and this year's publication, and vendors are really starting to find their niche, each kind of finding their own footing in the space as it crowds. So there's some new, really interesting entrants in the space. So it's been kind of fun to watch and keep an eye on, and gives enterprises more options. So that's really nice.
So what does this research tell you?
Tell me? That, there's a lot more attention being paid on the space, and there's a lot coming in 2022 in terms of portfolio evolution, new vendors. I mean, Salesforce just made an acquisition in the space, so I'm looking to include them in next year's iteration. So yeah, just nice and.
So are there more acquisitions happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a few key ones happened recently. So Salesforce is one of them. Jakarta was recently purchased as well, and there's quite a few. I mean, some of the more notable ones that have happened, in this past year or so. So Microsoft made a big play into the space with Softomotive, and so they actually have performed very well in this year's research, and IBM as well, acquiring a Brazilian player and really putting that RPA capability into their cloud pack for automation. So more competition for the bigger guys in the space, and more options for the enterprise.
So you've been tracking this for a while. What have you seen over time? Is it just evolving gradually? Is it fast, slow?
The market was already on a pretty strong trajectory before the pandemic, but as the pandemic hit, kind of created this catalyst for change. A lot of companies were trying to figure out how to pivot to new ways of working, to how to stay resilient and agile with oftentimes like fewer resources and things like that. So it's really, really been a catalyst for growth and more use cases for automation in the enterprise. And that's kind of all happening at the same time as AI technologies are advancing. So there's more machine learning, more natural language processing capabilities within these platforms. And so enterprises can really bring these capabilities to more departments, more processes, bring it to the front office, really elevate that customer experience, for example. So it's been pretty interesting to watch.
So are things changing, getting near, I guess, if we're ever post-pandemic, getting near that, are things changing because of that?
From
just the market going forward, is it going back to relative normal, or is it going faster, slower?
No, I think that some of these changes will last. Hybrid working, for example, automation's really helping with IT service tickets, for example. With all of us being remote, it's a different way of working for IT departments. I think that some of these changes that have happened over the past 20 months in will stay. But it'll be interesting to see how things evolve beyond the pandemic.
So what about your crystal ball for 2022? What do you see?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Well, it's tough for a researcher because you do it based on research, but I'm asking you to speculate.
Yes, of course. I really think 2022 is going to be a big year for automation growth. We saw in 2021 a lot more interest in the technology, some hesitation or budget restrictions or what have you. And there's from some of the studies that we've recently put out, we're seeing a lot of investment plans for the next 12 to 18 months. So I think that 2022 will be a big year of, getting feet in the water, so to speak, and people just getting hands-on with the technology and seeing what they can do, and then probably beyond 2022 really starting to scale.
So a year from now, we're sitting here having the same conversation. What will we be talking about? The same thing?
Probably. We'll probably be talking about new vendors, new use cases, and I think that one of the big things I expect to kind of see come out of 2022 moving is more best practices. As the technology really evolves and matures and more companies are getting involved with it and more departments are getting involved, those that are maybe a little bit later to adopt are really learning from their peers who just went all in the beginning and learning kind of what steps to take ahead of time and how to properly onboard. I mean, part of it is technology, but the other big part of it is people and making sure that everybody understands the technology, what it does, what it's here for, and getting everybody on board.
Well, I look forward to that conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.